Hi everyone, welcome to today's tech tutorial. Today I'm going to walk you through editing your photos. So I'm going to move pretty quickly through the tutorial. You can always stop the video while I'm speaking and practice, and you're welcome to watch the video as many times as you need to. There's going to be a lot of good info. I'm going to try to share. There's a lot out there. I'm probably not going to have time to share all of it. I don't think you guys want to be watching a 6-hour photo editing tutorial, but I'm going to be showing you how to edit your photos on an iPhone or on an iPad. I'm going to be doing the majority of my editing for this on my iPhone because I find it a little bit easier to show you guys, but everything is very, very similar on the iPad. The buttons are just in a different place. So I'll run through that really quickly for you at the end, but the process is all the same. You know, all the buttons mean the same thing. They're just in a different spot. So to begin, you're gonna open up the camera app if you want to take a new photo. And if you already have a photo that you just want to edit, then you don't have to take a new one, obviously, but I will take one for this tutorial. So here's my phone. I'm going to take a picture of the desk here in front of me. Okay, so there I've got it. So once I've taken the photo, you can see it's still in my camera app. The quickest way to access that photo you just took is this little box down here in the bottom. It's like a miniature version of the photo I just took. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that. So when I tap on it, that's my photo. That's the photo I'm going to be editing with you guys today. Okay. The other thing that I recommend before starting to edit your photo is to go into your phone control center. And by doing that, you just swipe up from the bottom and that's your control center. You want to make sure that your screen brightness is pretty high. If you're trying to edit your photo with your screen being really dark, it's not going to look the way it's not going to end up looking the way you want it to. And maybe if you post it somewhere on Facebook or Instagram, once you see it on your computer or on your laptop, it's not going to look as bright potentially as it would if you had done it if you were editing it in full brightness. It's the best possible brightness that it's going to be and quality that it's going to be if you're editing at full brightness. So to change your brightness, it's this middle guy right here. It looks like a little sun. I know it's going to be a little bit fuzzy, I think, for you guys, but it's this button right here in the middle. So you can see as I'm sliding it up and down, my screen is getting brighter and darker. So I shoot it all the way up to edit photos. I don't leave it that way. And then to stop, you just slide that back down. I don't leave it that way because it'll drain your phone battery, but to edit my photos, I like to have it that way. So to access your control center on an iPad, you're not going to swipe up from the bottom. You're going to swipe down from the top right corner, and it'll show you that same that same control center. Okay, so I'm going to go back in here to my Photos app here, and then I'm going to click on my photo, and there it is. So there's my photo that I'm going to edit. The first thing I always do when editing photos, you can probably see it very faintly up here at the top. It says edit. That's in the top right corner. Once you press edit, then it's going to look like this. So the very first thing that I do when I'm editing my photos is I tap that little wand icon. It's a magic wand. When it's been turned on, it will turn yellow once that little wand has been applied, and it works like a magic wand. It automatically corrects some things with your photo. It might change the brightness, it might change the contrast. It's already going to do a little bit of magic on your photo for you. And sometimes that's all I do, and I leave it the way it is. But if you want to edit and practice editing a little bit more, we will do that. So see how it's yellow now because I've tapped on it? That's how you know that it's been applied. So if I turn it back off, if I tap it again, it will go white, and that little filter and editing that the camera already did, or the phone already did, will go away. So you want it to be yellow if you want it applied. Okay, so the first icon that we're going to work with is this one here at the bottom. I'm going to get it nice and close. It's this, where's my finger at? It's this one, okay? It's a little box with some arrows around it. If you tap on that, it pulls up a grid on your picture. So sometimes your phone will try to automatically move the perspective on your picture a little bit for you, I usually just hit reset and bring it back to the way I took it because I took it at the angle I liked. The button that I think most of us are going to be concerned with most is this rotate button. So you can see when I'm tapping this little rotate button, and that's at the bottom left, it's turning my picture around. So that's a handy little tip. The other thing on this, here we go. The other thing on this, with this icon, is that you can crop. So the way that you crop is you take that edge, that corner, and slide it. You guys can see here. Come on, Eddie. You take, there we go, I came up from the bottom. So you see how I can move, it's hard to show you guys and do it at the same time. I can move that, and if I hit reset here, it goes back to normal. I can slide those little corners around, there we go, and crop my photo. So let's say I just want that much of my photo, okay? I just slid it and there it automatically cropped it for me. So that's this very first little icon here at the bottom. This next one, which looks like 3 circles overlapping, I'm not going to talk about that right now. We'll come back to it. The next one we're going to work with is this one that looks like a little, I always think it looks like a clock. I don't think it's supposed to be a clock, but it looks like a clock to me. So when you click on it, up pops the words light, color, and black and white. Light is the one I use the most. I find it to be the most beneficial. You are welcome to experiment with the others, but we're going to click on that word light. Come on. And then you can slide, I'll try to do it so you guys can see, you can slide that bar back and forth and your photo will get darker or lighter. So if that's something you want to adjust, that's how you do it. And then it's very small, but right there in the center, there's that little circle. That's where you started. If you go back to that little circle, that's the original photo right there. That's the original lightness. So don't worry about not being able to get it back to the way you had it. That little circle there is to remind you where you started. The next thing over here, if you click on these 3 bullet lines right here, my finger's too big and covers it up, but if I click on that, then you're going to have this pop up. Light, brilliance, exposure, highlight, shadows, brightness, contrast, black point. There's all these minute details that you can edit, that you can change about the way your photo looks. I'm not going to explain all of them. I highly recommend playing with them a little bit to get familiar with them. They can be very helpful, but I use exposure, shadows, brightness, and contrast the most. You can just, every time you click on one, it gives you that same little bar and you slide back and forth on that bar and it edits something about how the photo looks. Okay, if you edit something and you realize that you don't like it, you just hit cancel and it'll start you over. If you hit cancel though, I believe it brings you all the way back to the original photo. Okay, just consider yourselves warned. Okay, so now we're going to jump back to, we've been messing around with this third icon that looks like a clock. Now we're going to jump back to the second icon, which is the 3 circles overlapping. This one is your filters. So I always add my filter last. That's why we're going through it last in the tutorial. Sometimes the filters will darken the photos further. It will add shadows and contrast. So I always go in and adjust my brightness and contrast to the way I pretty much like it. And then I'll add a filter if I really feel like the filter adds to the photo. You don't have to add filters. You don't have to edit anything, like I said, but it's kind of fun to play around with it. And sometimes you can really emphasize or bring out something just by doing a little bit of editing work. It can make a really, really nice photo. So it begins with original. That's obviously the one that we're looking at right now, the photo that we've been editing. If you click on the other boxes at the bottom, it changes. It adds a filter. It's a little bit harder to see the differences on this photo that I've taken, but there is a pretty distinct difference between, say, the vivid and the dramatic, and then of course the last couple are black and white, mono, silver tone, and noir. So those are fun to play with. I don't always add a filter, but sometimes I go in there just to see what the photo would look like. So just experiment with what you like. Some of them subtly change the photo and some of them really, really change the coloring of the photo. Just make sure when you get it the way you like it that you hit done, because if you don't hit done, it will not save. Done is like save. So I'm going to hit, let's say I'm going to leave it on vivid there. You can see my photo looks a little bit more contrasting, the colors, and I like that the way it is. So I'm going to click this word done. So once I click done, now it has saved it the way I have it. Let's say you're looking at it and you're like, you know what? I changed my mind. I actually want to go back and do a different filter. So you're just going to go back up to edit here at the top right corner, and you're going to click that word revert. Now that's going to take you all the way back. Bring it really close. So it says revert to original. Will remove all edits made to this photo. This action cannot be undone. So if I revert to original, there I am back to my very first photo, the thing we started with. Okay, so even after you save it, you can revert, but you revert all the way back to the original. Okay, so that's pretty much all I'm going to cover on this one. I feel like that's probably enough to start with, especially if you guys haven't edited photos before. That's plenty of information. I just want to show you real quick. So here's the iPad, and I'm going to, here we go. I'm going to show you guys. So here's my home screen on the iPad. When we swiped up on the iPhone, we're going to swipe down in the top right corner of the iPad. Okay, so this is the top right corner here, and I'm going to swipe my finger down, and there is my control center. So that's where you go to adjust the brightness. It still looks like a sun, same as on the iPhone. That's where I'm going to adjust my brightness of my screen. Like I said, I like to work on photos with my brightness full on. Okay, the other thing is that, let's say I want to go in and edit my photo on an iPad. So I go into Photos, and then here's my photo that I took today. So there's my photo today of my crafting stuff there. So here in the top right corner is that edit button. And then this is what it looks like. So it's a little harder to show you guys on the iPad, but there are all of your edit icons that we were working with. They're all the way down at the bottom of the screen. And there's your magic wand down there at the bottom as well. Okay, so on the iPhone, the magic wand's up in the corner. On an iPad, the magic wand is down at the bottom with the others. Okay, but like I said, the processes are all the same between the two. So have some fun editing your photos, guys, and thanks for watching.